And that small statistic represents a significant challenge in itself. Living and learning together is not easy, and as the class of 2018, you have managed this with aplomb. You are adept at solving many of the challenges of creating and maintaining friendships, negotiating your way through the cultural differences that many of you now do not see. I hope you will remember with much fondness this wonderful group of friends you have created and many of the experiences you have shared. Don't forget those ISHCMC Goes Wild trips, the nights of study groups, or Skyping each other for help with homework or assignments, the plays, the artwork, the music, the PE showcases and exhibitions, the field trips, Marissa events, and just hanging out with your friends at school or at home, chatting and having a good laugh. It's been a year of many firsts for me. A new campus to christen, reinvigorating houses to lead, a new common room to make home, and the list goes on. And today is just another of those firsts, graduating from school. It is the first and last time you get to do that, and I truly hope you remember it for the people, those who you will share time with at your first and last school graduation. Many of you will go on to graduate from university, maybe once, twice even, 3 or more times. However, you will never graduate from school again, and certainly not experience the IB diploma. Yes, you made it. The DP marathon is over, and come the 6th of July, you will have your final results to celebrate. Life is full of the firsts, and the next couple of months will be the same as you all move into new experiences. Importantly, remember to make the most of each day and every experience. I have learned that in each experience, however easy or hard they are, I will learn something about myself, about other people, and about life in general. In those experiences, I want you to continue to remember that you can make a difference to other people and our society in general. You are part of a generation that has intrinsic motivation to really make a difference. Many of you have demonstrated that through your involvement at ISHCMC, and we sincerely hope that you will continue this practice throughout your lives. You do make a difference in everything you do and say. Please take care to be positive in your approach to each and every member of the wider community that you meet. I would now like to ask the class of 2018 to take a moment to acknowledge the support of their family, friends, and teachers gathered here today. In particular, your parents, who have stood by you through good and challenging times. This is an important day for everybody. So I ask the class of 2018 to please stand, to show your appreciation to your parents and families gathered here today. Class of 2018, please be seated. I would like to leave you with a thought. Who do you want to be? No, I did not ask you, where are you going? Or what are you going to do? It is a question that you will need to discover over the next 10 to 15 and even 60 years or more. It is a question we all need to keep asking as a person and a leader. And you will all be leaders. To continue down this road, think of the following 5 questions in this order. And order does matter. Who? Who do you want to be? What kind of person are you becoming? Why do you even exist? What will be your purpose? What do you plan to do in light of this? What will be your work? When? when you will be ready to start. Are you ready to take your first step? And sometimes it's okay to delay those first steps. And where is the best place to fulfill these goals? The world is your oyster. Wise leaders, and you have many qualities that will help you to become wiser. Know to prioritise who before what and why before what. Become who you want to be and live every day to its fullest. All the very best to the class of 2018, as we will certainly miss you and remember you with great fondness. Go well, and remember, once a rhino, always a rhino. I'd now like to call upon our IB coordinator, Ms. Teresa Ford, who will share some of these organisational duties with me tonight. Ms. Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers, for your inspiring words and for your challenge to our graduates to continue to make a difference in their years beyond ISHCMC. I now have the pleasure to introduce a young woman who has been elected by her peers to speak on their behalf at graduation. She is the epitome of a well-rounded and balanced IB and ISHCMC graduate. The SRC and the Grade 12 Prom Committee. She has been the MC at countless school assemblies, including performing at many of them. She showed enormous maturity to establish the norms and protocols for use of our new DP common room at our new secondary campus. And for these contributions and countless more, she has earned the respect of the entire ISHCMC community. Please welcome to the lectern the student-elected speaker, Ms. V. Trim.
Parents, teachers, distinguished guests, families, and friends. My name is Vitrin. It is not only my honor to be here today as a student-elected speaker, but most importantly, to the class of 2018, it is an honor to be here as your friend. I am filled with mixed emotions as we are about to enter a brand new chapter of our life. But with starting new chapters come closing old ones. I would like to take this special moment to reflect back on the past few years as we're preparing to take a leap into the future. I would first like to talk about support. Support comes in many forms, whether it is from our family, teachers, or Tom, Jiwan, and Putu helping each other carry 50 kilograms from one villa to another in their train. The past 2 years has been a crazy roller coaster ride, with many ups and many downs. I know for a fact that many of us at times felt suffocated, that we're lost, but I'm sure we've never felt alone. We knew for a fact that our teachers' doors were always open, whether it was for academic support or emotional advice. We are grateful for the extended SE supervisor for the guidance as we strive to complete the most difficult component of our IB diploma. We are also grateful for our CAS coordinator, Ms. Barracliff, and to our college counselor, Mr. Gordon, for supporting us with our university pathways. Finally, we're thankful for Ms. Ford, our DP coordinator, who helped us manage this chaotic year with the academic calendar and always looking out for our well-being. One of the most important aspects of support came from our family, who have always been proud of us for who we are and what we are becoming. None of us would be here tonight on stage without my family. On this note, I would like to take a moment to say thank you to my parents in my mother tongue. Con cảm ơn bố mẹ nhiều lắm, và lúc nào cũng ủng hộ và động viên con theo đuổi con đường mà con đã chọn. Con ơn bố mẹ nhiều. On behalf of everyone here, I would like to say that we are grateful. At ISHCMC, we are grateful for the culture of care and the nurturing environment that gives us the opportunity to truly become whoever we want to be. At home, we are grateful for the endless love and support. And for me, I'm especially thankful for the friends that have become family. I was often told that high school is where you will meet the friends of your life, and I don't doubt that a bit. We may not have started this journey all together, with St. Min, Truvi, and Christine being at ISHCMC for over 14 years, and Miguel only joining us last year, but we sure have come a long way. We are one special mix of individuals. We have shared countless memories together, and to name a few, urgent appeals on wildlife at risk sleepovers, ISHCMC goes wild to Hoi An, Mekong, Long Hai, Dalat, Quang Binh, Ralok, proms, productions, MRSA tournaments, and last but not least, the Nha Trang grad trip. These are all the memories that I'm sure the class of 2018 will forever cherish. Now I'm sure when I bring up these memories, you will think of all the friends that have left. But I guess life is like an elevator in that sense, and that people will need to depart at their own destinations, just like how we're about to say goodbye as we start our own new journey. But look, to everyone who's here tonight, we made it. Or, as Drake would put it, started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here. The IB diploma has taught us much more than just understandings, applications, and skills. Together, we learned the importance of time management, that perhaps we should update our CAS reflections a little bit more often, or hand in our EE and IAs a little sooner, Pretty X. We also learned the importance of teamwork as we scrambled through the pages and pages of Google Doc revision grids, as my English lit class would know. Most importantly, we learned resilience. The IB diploma is rigorous, and the past 2 years has not been easy for anyone. At times, it looks like we have been defeated by the exhaustions of chasing deadline. But every time we have been knocked down, we managed to get back up and pull through. On this note, I would like to address to my class of 2018. Not only has it been my honor to learn with you guys, but to learn from you guys. First, I learned that it is okay to make mistakes. We shouldn't be afraid of making mistakes because every experience is a lesson. It didn't matter that we got lost in Dalat and everyone had to trek an extra 5 kilometers, because by the end of it, we all knew how to use a compass and read a map. And more importantly, we got to know each other. However, I guess I didn't learn that well because the following year when I got you guys all lost in Quang Binh, you guys were still pretty mad at me. But it's okay, we all made it. Every now and then, we are bound to make mistakes. We can either sweep it under the carpet, or accept it, learn from it, and move on. It is how we react to our mistakes that matters. Secondly, as cliche as it sounds, I learned that power does come from within. For the past couple of years, I have witnessed and admired the class of 2018's pursuit of success. I think all of us truly grew because along the way, we realized that we write the definition to our own success, and we're the only people that can get ourselves there. I have seen a determination of success and resilience in hardship, whether it is from Peter's iconic buzz cut before exams, or Truvi's endless hours in the lab trying to make plastic from potatoes. I learned that you guys will be your biggest critic, but at the same time, you will be your biggest motivator. Audience member, let me tell you that you are looking at ISHCMC class of achievement. On this stage, you are looking at 3 times MRSA football champions. You're also looking at the founder of ISHCMC's most successful CAS group, Library of Love. You're also looking at the students who will be joining the most prestigious education institutions of the world, like Georgetown, Cornell, West Point, and many more. I guess coming from a culture of achievement, we're often scared that we're not good enough. But a wise tell once told me, it doesn't matter as long as you've tried your best. Finally, I want to address change. Changes can be exciting, but changes can also be scary. I'm certain that many of us are afraid of leaving ISHCMC, this wonderful place that we've been so lucky to call home behind. It will be strange not seeing Junhee, Emily, Dahae, and AJ studying at Starbucks until late. It will be strange not seeing Sandy and Jimmy on the basketball court. But most importantly, it will definitely be strange coming back to ISHCMC and not seeing the class of 2018 in the DP common room. Thinking of it, in a few months we'll be scattered around the world. We will be immersed in different environments, and maybe then we will slowly change our definition of home. But for now, home is the inviting early coffee with Maddie, Christine, Luca, Vittorio, and Duke. Home is the history class with Elisa, Tanya, and Donnie, where Ted, Greg, and Ken tries to be diplomatic in their very political debates. Home is the early jazz practices with Bea and James. For now, home is not much more than being able to learn and grow with you guys. And I don't know about you, but change does seem pretty intimidating to me right now. But to my class of 2018, changes can be good. First, we need to congratulate Lizzie for being accepted to an Ivy League, and to everyone else who got accepted to other prestigious education institutions. Looking forward, we wouldn't be surprised if Benson and Karen becomes influential in the arts industry, Robin as the modern-day philosopher, Margot as a film producer infiltrating Hollywood, stealing all the awards. We will see David at Silicon Valley and Tony at a big engineering corporation. Hopefully one day, summer friends of Ted, Putu, Bea, and I can finally reunite and go on a war tour, and maybe then we can perform Creep. And if all fails, hopefully Laura will be the modern-day Keynes and solve the next Great Depression. All in all, to the class of 2018, don't be sad as we're only closing the first chapter of our life. Unfortunately, we won't be writing the next one together. But trust me when I say, it was truly my pleasure to be a part of the ISHCMC class of 2018. Leaving this night on a high note, always remember, once a rhino, always a rhino.
Thank you for your wonderful speech. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our first musical interlude, This Is Me, by Ben Cassett and Justin Hall. It will be performed by the secondary strings and vocal group and is directed by Candice Taubner and Janique Ho. We have two grade 12 performers in the vocal group, Helen and Bea.
When the sharpest word find me down.
Thank you very much to our strings group, our choir, and also particularly to the 2 grade 12s who performed This Is Me. And it's very fitting because it's who you want to become and you have to be yourselves. Keep that in mind. Don't try and be something that somebody else wants you to be. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our graduation speaker for this evening, Ambassador Ted Osius. He is currently the Vice President of Fulbright University, Vietnam, a role he started only a few short months ago after retiring from the US State Department in 2017, bringing to a close nearly 30 years of service in the United States Diplomatic Corps. The final 3 years as the US Ambassador to Vietnam. Early in his career, he helped open the US Consulate General in Ho Chi Minh City and was one of the first US diplomats at the US Embassy in Hanoi. So he certainly shares a good understanding of this vibrant and fascinating country. He was Associate Professor at the National War College and Senior Fellow at the Centre for Strategic and International Studies. He has previously served in US embassies in Indonesia and India, and in the State Department in areas such as Korean affairs, the environment, and international affairs for the US Vice President. He also served in the United Nations, the Holy See, and the Philippines prior to joining the Foreign Service. Ambassador Osius worked in the office of the US Senator Al Gore and as a presidential intern at the American University in Cairo, Egypt. He earned a bachelor's degree from Harvard University and a master's degree from Johns Hopkins University's School of Advanced International Studies. Please welcome Ambassador Ted Osius to address the class of 2018.
Thank you very much, Phil. And can I just take a moment to say that that performance of This Is Me took my breath away. That was beautiful. And it was wonderful to have 2 of the graduates to be among the vocalists. Greetings, class of 2018. I want to thank Head of School Adrian Watts for honoring me by asking me to speak with you here today. Adrian has expressed such a compelling vision that is reflected in your new campus. In the space of only a hectare, it includes world-class sports facilities, interactive hallways, and a spectacular theater. It's a vision of education come alive. I want to say thank you to all of you parents who are here today. It's your support and devotion that made this day possible. And I want to say thank you to ISHCMC's dedicated teachers, coaches, and staff. And most of all, congratulations to you graduating seniors. This is your day. I feel deeply honored to speak with you. I'm here because I admire ISHCMC and what it does. Inika, Teresa, and Paul generously shared with me some of your accomplishments and your video presentations of your extended essays. And I wanted to mention a few examples of things that you've done that really resonated with me. First photo, Vichin, whom you just heard from. V spoke, of course, about support, about teamwork, about resilience. And Ban Tien Viet, she spoke about love. And she said something about that trip to Nha Trang that made it sound very, very, very interesting and fun. And like her fellow seniors, V has been exposed to hands-on, innovative, student-centered education. The program that you've been part of calls on students to emphasize creativity, activity, and service. And for V, that meant creative writing with the Kafka group, playing the guitar in ISHCMC's talented jazz band, which you'll hear later on, and playing basketball. V participated in a medical summer program in Nepal where she joined pathology seminars in the teaching hospital, shadowed doctors, and followed rotations. She was a non-medical volunteer for Operation Smile, helping kids with cleft palates, and she was student council president. V will be studying at Washington University in St. Louis, and she wants to be a doctor. So are you inspired by V? I certainly am. Next photo. Chiu V. Luan. TV founded Artspiration, a club that allows students to explore their creativity outside the classroom while raising money for charities. He led Artspiration as it designed projects for ISHCMC and created visual art around the school. He actively participated in the gardening club and in the Mad Scientist Club, where older students mentor younger ones in hands-on science. With an interest in both the arts and in the sciences, he will bring beauty and soul to the study of chemical engineering at the Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology in Terre Haute, Indiana. Next one, AJ Moreno. AJ was super active on the swim team, in the Model UN, and in providing leadership in house activities. 2 years ago, he told me he wanted to serve his country. Faced with multiple college options, AJ chose to attend West Point Military Academy so that he can learn more about leadership, and where he knows he'll be challenged physically, emotionally, and mentally. Tran Rizana Tatla, this year's valedictorian. Also a basket player, Rizana focused on the Model UN, the Saigon Entrepreneur Competition, where she created a startup selling body mist and Urgent Appeals, a service organization that helps people affected by natural disasters. She wrote her extended essay on the 1453 siege of Constantinople, wanting to understand how a 53-day siege ended a great empire. Rizana will attend Georgetown University. I could tell you stories about all 70 of these graduates, and they're not all going to US colleges. I did err on the side of US colleges, but every single one is inspiring, and I'm excited for every one of you. A dragon. Most of you who graduate today were born in the year of the dragon. And that means, by definition, you are ambitious, energetic, natural leaders, and as V said, you value a culture of achievement. Much is expected of you. And that's what I want to discuss today. Faced with so much success, I want to talk a little bit about failure. I want to pick up from what V said and talk about setbacks. That's a chicken. And I didn't choose it in honor of the jazz band, but the jazz band is going to play the chicken later on. So in my high school, the Putney School in Vermont, USA, we didn't have extended essays, but we had senior projects, and mine was to raise and slaughter 50 chickens. Why? Well, I wanted to learn what real poultry farmers do. And so when my family arrived at my school after a 10-hour drive to attend my graduation, I was up to my elbows in feathers and chicken guts. I wasn't ready for their arrival. I certainly didn't look as well-dressed as you all do, or as clean. I had not known how long it would take to remove the feathers and clean the chickens. I didn't even know that when you pluck a chicken dry, it takes a really long time. The first half dozen took 45 minutes each. It's way easier if you dip the chicken in water first. Well, that was a very small lesson in failure, but it was also a lesson in learning from failure. And so with my parents' help, I cleaned it up and I made it to graduation, just barely, with minutes to spare. Before that, in junior year, I learned a little bit harder lesson about failure. I wanted to be head of the student council. I wanted to play the kind of role that V did. And I collared all kinds of people and asked them, please vote for me. And not only did I lose, but I didn't even come in second. I felt sad, I felt humiliated. Next picture. But the same day that we learned the student election results, we also learned who had been assigned to live in cabins like these that were part of senior class housing. Now that may not look terribly impressive, but there wasn't much supervision. And so that cabin represented real independence for any students who lived there, and it was probably the best place I ever lived. My roommate raised a pig, and I raised the chickens. So we chopped wood for our stove, we studied using kerosene lamps, and in Vermont, for those of you who've been there, it gets very cold in the winter. Sometimes the temperatures stay below 0 Fahrenheit for a week at a time. So every night we get in bed between our icy sheets and we'd scream because it was so cold. Now when I was typing my college applications that winter, and yes, we used typewriters back then, my fingers were so cold that I made a lot of mistakes, and I used half a bottle of whiteout. Do you know what whiteout is? Okay, good. Well, my college essay, mistakes, whiteout, whatever, was about that cabin, and I was accepted at Harvard. Because I had learned in my high school, a very safe place, that I could fall on my face, dust myself off, and find another way. And that it's okay to fail. That the way to respond to disappointment is to find something else, an alternative. And I think one of the most meaningful features of ISHCMC is that you've created a space for learning where there is enough support to take risks and enough challenge to reach beyond what you already know to what is new. It's been safe to fail here, and it's okay to fail out there. And as V said, sometimes you get to take your home with you. Sometimes you get to take ISHCMC with you. So even the ambitious, energetic leaders born in the year of the dragon will have to accept the occasional failure, the occasional setback. And after failing, you have to dust yourself off and get back to work. You may find that something will happen that is even better than what you had been aiming for. Resilience in the face of failure, turns out, is a really useful quality, especially when pursuing other things that matter, like love and like purpose. So right there is a photo taken in our then living room in Hanoi. And what, to me, it shows is that every so often, love and purpose can align. Clayton and I asked Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg if she would renew our marriage vows. And when we did so, we were thinking first about purpose. As the first openly gay ambassador in East Asia, I had hoped to provide some encouragement for Vietnam's LGBTI community. Clayton and I had often heard from gay people in Vietnam that when they saw us, they realized that careers and families might be possible for them too. And while Vietnam has now decriminalized marriages between the people of the same gender, such unions are not yet legally recognized. So Justice Ginsburg visited only a few weeks after the Supreme Court decision that legalized marriages such as ours in all 50 states. So for her to renew our vows here in Hanoi, or here in Vietnam, seemed like a chance to encourage others and to make a difference. At a press conference in our home, this very wise justice walked through the history of marriage equality in the United States that led up to the Supreme Court's historic decision. She told the story of how social change sometimes leads to legal change and to justice. And later, when she met with Vietnam's Supreme Court, she acknowledged that American society is not perfect, that we too suffer setbacks. And even so, she suggested, our two societies, both imperfect, might learn from one another. And that is the best thing about diplomacy, my profession for nearly 30 years. It's two societies learning from each other. That's a picture that goes back a few years, Madeleine Albright's visit to Vietnam. When I came to Vietnam the very first time in early 1996, just after our two countries normalized diplomatic relations, I felt that my purpose in life was diplomacy. I fell in love with Vietnam and with its people. I couldn't believe just how forward-looking and how forgiving the Vietnamese were, even when I first visited, just 20 years after the war had ended. I thought, maybe our two societies could learn from one another. And that time in Vietnam was the best tour I ever had, at least until the most recent one, when I had the privilege of serving as ambassador in a career in which I served in 8 countries. And as ambassador, I consider that the 3 days that President Obama visited, marked the high point of a long career. Those 3 days were the days I had the honor of hosting President Obama in Vietnam. And when he visited this city, when he visited Ho Chi Minh City, 1 million people turned out to welcome him on the streets. It was the biggest crowd to greet him in any country that he traveled in his years in office. And as it turned out, that journey, that finding out about purpose, didn't stop there. Finding one's purpose is a continuing process, and sometimes there are setbacks. Now we have a different president in the United States, and I'm no longer working for the US government. Instead, I became vice president of Fulbright University, right here in Ho Chi Minh City, because I wanted to find an alternative route, another way to bring the United States and Vietnam closer together. I decided that after serving as ambassador, the best thing I could do is work to boost higher education in this country. And when you're trying to find purpose, I think it's also possible to find love, and if you wish, maybe, to create a family. Life doesn't always go in a straight line. Sometimes we meet difficulty and adversity, and we need to find ways around it. 20 years ago, it wasn't easy to be a gay man in the Foreign Service. Yet a group of us founded an employee association, and at one of its monthly meetings, I met a wonderful man, Peyton Bond. Together for 14 years, we are incredibly lucky to be raising 2 healthy children. A daughter, now age 3, and a son, age 4. And soon after I came to Vietnam, a young man asked whether I might have encountered difficulties because I'm gay. I thought, well, if that young man is brave enough to stand up in front of 800 high school students and ask that question, I owed him an honest answer. So I told him the truth. Yes, I've encountered difficulties, but by being who I am, I was able to find happiness, have a career that I love, and even create a family. I told him that love and purpose are possible and worth the effort to find. When failure happens, and it does, pick yourself up, dust off, and find a way. Find an alternative route. You may not know your purpose now. I certainly didn't have a clue when I was in college, or even for many years after. And for some of you, it may be to create art, or music, or Vietnamese drumming, or theater. For others, it might be teaching, or business, or what Justice Ginsburg referred to, creating social change that leads to justice and legal change. Perhaps it's tackling the existential challenge of our time, climate change. Or perhaps it's using the benefits of artificial intelligence to make Vietnam stronger and more prosperous. Perhaps it's finding love, creating a family. Things don't always go according to plan, but sometimes they work out better than we planned or even could have dreamed. Love and purpose are possible. They're a continuing process, and sometimes they even come together. So I want to close with a few lines from my favorite poem, Ithaca, by the Alexandrian poet C.P. Cavafy about the wayfarer's varied and indirect journey. As you set out for Ithaca, hope the journey is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Laestradonians and Cyclops, angry Poseidon, don't be afraid of them. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you are destined for. But do not hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years, so you are old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all you have gained on the way. Congratulations, class of 2018. I wish you all long journeys, full of adventure, full of discovery, full of love and purpose.
Thank you so much for your wonderful words, and I hope that they do have those long journeys and they are full of much, much adventure. And on behalf of the class of 2018, I'd like to ask AJ Mourinho to come forward, please, and make a small token of our appreciation for your time and for speaking to us today. Thank you, AJ, and thank you, Ambassador Osius. And now we have our second musical performance. This one is particularly special because it will involve a number of our grade 12 or class of 2018 students. They've decided to come together to perform All in This Together by Matthew Gerard and Robbie Neville. Come forward, class of 2018, to perform for us.
So we're going to be performing for you guys All in This Together from High School Musical. I'm Bea, this is Dahe, this is Helen, Sydney, Putu, V, Ted, and James. And ready?
Together
thank you. And you should see the smiles on everybody's faces. Thank you for that very uplifting performance, and we certainly have all been in this together, ISHCMC. Well done. It is now my pleasure to call upon our projects coordinator, Ms. Jane Barracliff, to come forward to present the John Elwood Award. This award recognises excellence in the core of the IB diploma program, Theory of Knowledge, CAS, and the Extended Essay, which has been at the heart of the IB diploma since its beginnings in the 1960s. Please welcome Ms. Jane Barracliff to the stage.
The John Elwood Award was created to honour the memory of an ISHCMC teacher and internationalist who was killed in the Bali bombings of 2002. His dedication and passion to community service and to the students of ISHCMC will forever be remembered. This year's deserving recipient is an exemplary all-round student. Her approach to the Theory of Knowledge course was reflective and purposeful, and her extended essay demonstrated impressive intellectual curiosity, exploring how mathematics might be used to predict the onset of osteoporosis. She has made an outstanding contribution to the culture of service at ISHCMC, in particular through her leadership of the Mad Scientist Club and for her dedicated service as a wild rhino youth ambassador, advocating against wild rhino poaching in South Africa and for a reduction in the demand for wild rhino horn. These notable contributions and examples of innovative academic vision align with the mission of ISHCMC and are testament to our recipients' values. Please join me in congratulating the recipient of the John Elwood Award, Sion Lee.
Thank you, Ms. Barracliff, and congratulations to Soyoung Lee, who is a true embodiment of what it means to be an ISHCMC IB student and graduate. It is now my absolute honour to welcome to the lectern the valedictorian for the class of 2018. This honour is bestowed upon the student who has obtained the highest grade point average over the past 4 years. This year, the honour goes to a young woman who has truly excelled in her studies in English literature, French, world history, chemistry, physics and mathematics. Please come forward to address this graduation, our valedictorian, Tran Rizana Tatlock.
Good evening, fellow classmates, parents, family, teachers, and distinguished guests. It is my honor to be here today speaking to you as valedictorian. To be honest, I didn't expect to be in this position. There are so many other bright and hardworking people here who deserve the title just as much as me. I'd like to give a special shout out to Truvi Loan, our salutatorian. Today we celebrate our achievements. We made it. However, we didn't make it alone. I think it's helpful to look back at how far we've gone and to reflect on those who have helped us to get where we are. On a more personal note, I'd like to dedicate this speech to my father, without whom I would not be standing here today. Thinking about my father, I started to think about legacy and began to have a bigger appreciation for how much what we do can impact other people. I saw how many lives he had touched in ways big and small, and how many people remember him for what he's done for them. Though my father is no longer with us, his legacy as a parent and as a teacher lives on in me and in the people he's taught, some of whom are graduating today. We don't exist merely as individuals in a bubble. We live in communities and we depend on other people. The things we do, say, and the way we live affect those around us, while in turn we are inspired and shaped by our interactions with other people. But how often do we really take that into account? I know for one that my experiences are greatly influenced by the people I've met along the way, and I can say with confidence that I didn't make it here on my own. When I was little, I wasn't very good with English because I studied at a Vietnamese school. Sure, I could speak English, but I didn't read or write much. My father loved to read, and on top of that, he was an English teacher, so he would always give me books in English, wanting me to get better at reading. And just like that, he introduced to me a love for literature and for reading. When I came to ISHCMC after transferring from public school, I was prepared for a shock, cultural and academic. But I was welcomed with open arms and given all the support I ever needed. The people I've met along the way, my friends, some of whom have been with me since 7th grade, some of whom I've only met a couple of years ago, and the teachers who saw something in me and wanted to help me flourish in my new environment. They have changed me for the better. From a shy, introverted girl who was not very confident and was not too prepared to speak up, I became a slightly less shy, less introverted, and some would argue slightly too opinionated young woman. No one can really say that they succeeded all alone. There's always someone who comes along to lend a hand, to offer advice, or to just be a friend. My parents gave me the opportunity of an international education, and that would just be the biggest gift they could have given me. Thanks, Mom. My academic success is not mine alone. I owe it to my teachers who have guided me and who have went beyond the call of duty to help me reach my potential. I believe it wouldn't be wrong to say that teachers, like my father was, and like every teacher present here today, truly care about us students as individuals. And it is this care that we feel standing here today, and for which we are thankful. Behind each and every one of us graduates, there is the helping hand of parents, of siblings, of friends, of teachers, and of any and all kind companions who have come and gone along the way and who have left a mark in our lives. Thank you for all that you've done. Graduates, as we move on to bigger, brighter things, let us not forget how we got here and who we've met on our journey. We've all lived together, grown together, been a part of a common community. When we move on, we leave behind our legacy, felt by the people with whom we share a school and a family. But we also bring with us the memories and the lessons from those we leave behind. Looking forward to the future, I think it is helpful to look back into the past. History has always been one of my favorite subjects. So if I may, I'd like to illuminate my point with an example from history. The ancient Mesopotamians built the first civilizations. The Sumerians were the first to put down thoughts into writing as cuneiforms on clay tablets. The Phoenicians created an alphabet that would eventually be transformed into the alphabet, the Latin alphabet we use today. What fascinates me is that though these people are long gone, the vestige of their time in the world still lives on with us and affects our everyday lives, thousands of years later. What is the history of humanity but the lives and the actions of people interwoven like threads across time? The people of history never knew just how far their lives would affect ours today. In a similar way, we may never fully realize the mark we leave, nor the full extent of the impact we will have on the future. But what is certain is that how we live and what we do will have a rippling effect that will be felt by the people we encounter. We are not isolated, and our lives will matter in ways we cannot yet imagine. So as you forge on to your new successes and follow your dreams, remember that the mark you leave in the world is not always measured by your achievements. It is also measured by the way you live and the relationships you build with the people around you. He's looking forward to you, ISHCMC graduates, changing the world through your ambition and achievements, as well as through your care and meaningful actions in the lives of those around you. We're going off now into our future. So be strong, be brave, be thoughtful, and as my dad would have said, quit complaining and go make history. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those words, and I know that you and your class of 2018 will make history, and that history will involve many people and many communities over the years. We look forward to being able to welcome you and the class of 2018 back to ISHCMC at any time to again be part of this community. As our valedictorian, I have a small presentation to make to you. And at this time, I'd like to acknowledge TV, the valedictorian, but also every student for all their efforts, all the hard work that you put in to make your success and to achieve what you will go on to achieve and to give yourself the best possible start. But to Rosanna, congratulations and well done as the valedictorian of 2018. We now move to the distribution of the graduation diplomas. Please be aware we'll have a musical interlude in between the awarding of the diplomas. I'd now like to invite our head of school, Mr. Adrian Watts, to the stage to award the diplomas. Our four house leaders will come up and read the names of the students in their houses. Firstly, we have Mr. Dom Furway to read out the graduates' names from Buffalo House. And following Buffalo House, we'll have Miss Catherine Muskamp, who will read out the graduate names from Cobra House. Mr. Furway.
I would now like to ask all members of the Buffalo House to please stand. Sydney J. Adams. Wan-U Chue. Dang Min Chao. Manuela Diaz Vargas. Alexia Beatrice Guglielmi. Vittorio Giancarlo Guglielmi. Luan Chu V. Lu Ya An. Song Jun Min. Margot Piarkowski. Gon-U Ryu. Aditya Sharma. Karen Suzu. Chin Chan Nyet V. Pin Chao Tseng. I would now like to invite Ms. Kate Muskamp, the House Leader of Cobras, to please come to the stage.
Now I'd like to invite the graduating Cobras to please stand. First of all, Beatrice Alexia Marie Africa Corona. Gao Min Ki. Ted Noel Dennis. Ida Putu Wiwaka Daramasu. Jung Min Tong. Emma Dewi Gruber. Christine Claire Miha. Cao Huang Yi. Lei Vic Nguyen. Xin Tian Li. Sion Lee. Win Kim Chi. Win Chung Kan. Madison Kate Prince. Luca Paul Schultz. Tran Fu Chen. Tran Razana Tatlock. Trung Ban Ling. Ai Yi Wang. Ethan Isaac Wong Wei. And Ji Wan Yun.
May I please ask the Cobras to be seated and thank Mr. Watts. And he can be seated for a few moments as well. I'd now like to ask the jazz band to please come forward, and they're going to sing, or perform, sorry, The Chicken. It fits in well with Ambassador Osis's previous words. This is The Chicken by Pee Wee Ellis. I'm not sure they're going to pluck it, but they're going to perform it, and they're going to be directed by Mr. Tim Graham. The jazz band, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to our wonderful musicians and our jazz band.
I would like to invite all the graduating dragons to please stand. And as these guys make their way to the front, I just wanted to give a massive thank you to all the families for all the love and support they've shown our students over the past year. So thank you very much to parents and families. Gregorio Kim Chung. Do Tuan Young. Young Bao Nok. Laura Muema Fetki. Bartholomew Tanish Gomes. Jung Hee Jung. Radiax Kampal. Min Sung Kang. Sang Min Kim. Suk-Young Kim. Lejuan Ha Zhang. Tanya Torn Mapen. Adam Jonathan Moreno. Win Huang Young. Win Ho Trang To. Myung Hung Song. Vu Nguyen Nguyen Nu. Ladies and gentlemen, those are your graduating dragons. I'd now like to invite Mr. Justin Babcock to the stage to read the names for the Tigers.
I would like to invite the members of Tiger House to please stand. Lucinda Ashley Brown. Yun Chen. James Yue Goodall. Chang Ting Huang. Hyun Suk Jang. Sa Young Jun Hyun Kim. Sa Young Kim. Da He Guak. Shan Hong Mo. Timothy Chung Win. Miguel Soler Canales. Tan Bao Ngọc. Ishini Huije Tenakun. Yun Saw Phá Huynh Dục. Mingju Wu. Would the members of Tiger House please take a seat?
Take a big sigh of relief there. In some ways, I think they're all happy that they've kept their diplomas. Earlier when we were practicing, they had to hand them back, but now they get to keep them. Don't lose them. They're important. But congratulations. And now to conclude our ceremony today, I'd like to invite Mr. Watts to address our gathering and to then guide our graduates through the formal moving of the tassel from the right to the left to signify the end of their formal schooling. Ladies and gentlemen, our head of school, Mr. Adrian Watts.
Glasses these days, getting old. Graduating class of 2018, distinguished guests, parents, fellow educators. It is my pleasure to make the closing remarks to this wonderful graduation ceremony. These will fall into three categories. I start with much merited thanks to all involved in creating such a memorable evening. I will then switch to make a few comments about this year at ISHCMC. And finally, I will end with a few words for this amazing class of graduates. Firstly, a few thanks. Thank you to our guest speaker, Ted Osius. It says a lot about Ted that, although a very busy man, as you have heard, On accepting the invitation to speak this evening, he immediately booked time to come to school and talk to members of the graduating class in order to get to know them, so that his words of wisdom would resonate with them as individuals. Thank you for your excellent and inspiring speech, and for giving us your precious time and being so meticulous in your preparation. We can all learn from that. Thank you. Thank you to the rest of our speakers, in particular to the student speakers this evening. I'm not quite sure how I can follow you, but I'm going to try. You did such a wonderful job. Thank you to our musicians. I know you've all really enjoyed their performances this evening. Mr. Graham, Ms. Tubner and Ms. Coe, thank you for guiding our musicians and for raising the quality of music here at ISHCMC to such a height. Thank you to Mr. Tran, Mr. Tang and all the facility workers and technicians for working behind the scenes to ensure this ceremony ran so smoothly. Also, thank you to the secondary admin team, Mr. Rogers, Mr. Augustine, Ms. Ford, all the secretarial staff and communications team, especially Inika, Rebecca and Lynn, who have contributed again behind the scenes to the organisation and the beautiful presentation of the ceremony this evening. Also, thank you to the parent graduation committee that has worked with the secondary administration to ensure that after this ceremony, the celebrations will continue into the not so late night. Really? Lastly, but in no way least, thank you to all the teachers, administrators who have taught, guided, supported, encouraged, tolerated and coerced at times the class of 2018 so they could reach this point in their education. Thank you to all of you for contributing to such a memorable evening. Thank you. Well, what an incredible year we have had at ISHCMC. It has been a year of non-stop celebrations. ISHCMC gets better and better every year. Our year started with outstanding IB diploma results from the class of 2017. One of the greatest challenges of secondary school education is having students following the right courses, keeping doors open for their future, whilst ensuring social and emotional well-being. The diploma results of 2017 reflected exactly that goal, with a 97% pass rate for students who took the full diploma. Amongst them was ISHCMC's first ever 45 points, who just happened to also be the only 45 point in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and across all the Cognita schools worldwide. So I wonder if any of the graduating class this evening will add their name to that statistic. We will find out on July the 6th. Another celebratory landmark for this year was the opening of our new secondary campus in January, marking the end to years of waiting. Everyone who visits this building is impressed, and it is clearly the best secondary school in Vietnam. It is designed not only for students today, but also with an eye to the future, and where education will develop over the next 5 years. Equally amazing to me, however, was how well our population of over 1,100 students worked alongside each other on the old campus from August to December, and then how smoothly the secondary staff and students transitioned to the new building. This is a huge tribute to the adaptability of our secondary school community. ISHCMC continues to modernise its pedagogy and align with the learning styles of our students, the fast-changing world of employment and the skills demanded by employers. You've heard tonight about the social and emotional development of our students from the graduating class and how well they have dealt with the pressures of their academic challenges. This year we introduced a lot of new IB diploma subjects, some life skills courses, and a completely new pedagogical approach in grade 5. Next year we'll see the introduction of more courses aimed at providing students with greater choice and different pathways along which to travel towards their graduation. We've also revolutionised the way we were doing the creativity, activity and service section of our school as well. which has been incredibly impressive, led by many of these students behind me, who we would sorely miss, but has moved into a new phase, and I think it is more universal now than it has ever been before. Thank you, Jane, for your contribution in that area. With the new campus, we have had to work very hard to remain as one community. Our parent-teacher community has worked tirelessly together to produce outstanding events that highlight who we are. We are a school that cherishes its community and is always looking to make it stronger by getting to know each other, learning more about other cultural similarities and differences, and being willing to share who we are. Our PTO has continued to diversify its role, providing an increasing number of opportunities for more and more parents to get to know each other and become friends. Although this is our last year in Marissa, we have continued to support the organisation hosting both the Arts Festival and the newly introduced STEAM Fair. We have entered teams in all Marissa events at both under 14 and senior levels. Our teams have continued to do exceptionally well, and the conference will be notably weakened by our absence next year. For those who are worried, we have applied to join the highly competitive Southeast Asia Sports and Activities Conference, commonly known as CSAC. This includes 15 schools from across Southeast Asia. At the end of this ceremony, you'll have to forgive me because I have to rush off to the airport to catch the 8:50 flight to Bangkok in order to make a presentation tomorrow morning for the only remaining place in that conference. Let's hope we get it. Please wish me some luck. While celebrating sports activities, I'd like to single out the incredible progress our swimmers have enjoyed. We often take for granted our swim programme because our swimmers always come home with awards and personal best times, train ridiculously early in the morning and late in the afternoons. We rarely put their performances into perspective. Earlier this year, our swim team, whilst competing at the Singapore American School Invitational, won the Team High Tech Award. We now have 6 swimmers ranked in the top 16 swimmers in their age groups in the USA on the High Tech point system. How well our swimmers have been doing has been further consolidated by news from one of our students who left last June. A young lady called Mina Boardman in grade 3 has just become state champion in the US in both the 50-metre fly and the 50-metre freestyle at under 10 level. And on top of that, was recognised in Swimmers World as an up-and-coming star for the future. This is certainly something for us to be celebrating. And with this evening, our arts department has thoroughly entertained us throughout the year with excellent productions, showcases, art exhibitions, impromptu recitals, and mini productions. ISHCMC remains a hive of creative activity, which is very important in a world in which innovation and creativity are hugely valued in the industrial and employment market. But it is not just the number of activities that our arts departments have been putting on that matters. It is the increasing quality, as you have heard, of the students